All right, buddy. First off, happy Father's Day to you. I appreciate you coming on to the show on Father's Day. Even though it's a special day to a lot of fathers out there, we tend to just kind of look at it somewhat of just another day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just another day, Not like Mother's Day where we gotta take her out and spend a bunch of money whining and dining.
Wine and dine. That's
Whining and
exact
dining.
words. Yeah, I know that's right. But
Yep.
yeah, we get our Father's Day cards and then it's about our normal business. But I appreciate you coming on. For those of the people out there watching, go ahead and tell them your name and where you're from.
Right, yeah, what's up everybody? My name is JD or JD Rutherford. The nickname that I used to go by on the street was Mad Dog. Don't really use that anymore. I'm 45 years old now, so I just stick to JD. Most everybody knows me as JD. I was born and raised in southeast Los Angeles, North Orange County area. Started pretty much running the streets at an early age, about 11 and 12 years old, and never really like got involved in committing to like one gang or the other until a little bit later on in my life. I always felt staying neutral was better. There's more money to be made that way. I was able to cross all different racial lines and do business that way. And pretty much that all came to an end the first time I stepped foot in the Los Angeles County Jail. So Los Angeles County Jail, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it. It's very notorious. Uh, don't really know how LA County Jail is nowadays, now that we're in this um, snowflake safer prisons um, generation that we're in.
Yeah.
But back in the 90s, Los Angeles County was a very dangerous and very violent and vicious place to be.
Yeah.
It was, they had various different gladiator dorms like 9500, the 2000 block, 3000 block was the gang unit. You had Wayside, of course, and East Max, Medium North, and those were all rocking and rolling back in the 90s when I was in there. So just to talk a little bit about white dudes that cross racial lines into other ethnicities and as far as the gang scene is concerned and as far as the prison politics are concerned, speaking from the standpoint of a SURENO like what I am from Southern California, I can't really speak on behalf of anybody else across the nation, but on behalf of the cause that I represented, we called the Campo. Um, I didn't exactly go into the county jail for the first time thinking that I was going to be that. I believe that what my people were telling me, stick with your people and everything will be all right. Going to the LA County Jail for the first time, I remember sitting downstairs waiting to go up to 9500. And my first experience in there was a young Crip came up to me and stuck his foot up against mine. He said, "Hey, white boy, what size are them shoes?" That was my first experience with the LA County Jail. And I said, "Well, they're size 10s." And he's all about, "Oh, man, he'll trade me." And he had some shot out ass, blown out, beat up house slippers. I don't know if they pulled him out of bed when they busted him or what happened, but I wasn't about ready to give up my shoes. And I told him, "No, I'm cool, man. I'm good." He's like, "Yeah, all right, then, all right." And there's a couple other white dudes sitting around in the little area. I just chose to sit right next to all the white people because that's what we think we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting next to all the other white dudes, and I remember I see this one white dude there. He's got kind of tattoos, the mustache, sitting there brushing his mustache. And I'm like, "Yeah, I stabbed 3 child molesters at Chino," and all this other, windbag and talk that you hear, that wind power you hear coming out of people. And next thing you know, I seen all these Crips coming up to me, and they were saying, "Say, cuz the homie says he wants your shoes," and I'm like, "I don't want to." I got punched. So I got up and I'm like, one on one, one on one. And the guy that originally wanted my shoes, he's like, "Well, this is a white boy, so I'm gonna be able to take him easy." Well, it didn't work out that way for him. I mean, I held my own, I kept it going, and then next thing you know, they all jumped me. And I'm laying on the ground, and of course, you're at the mercy at that point. I don't care who you are. You could be freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger, you could be Bruce Lee, and if you're laying on the ground at that point, everything is going to get taken from you.
Yeah.
And the one of his OGs was like, "Go ahead, little home, go ahead, cuz, get your shoes." He's like, "Nah, man, he fought for his, he earned it. I'm gonna take somebody else's." And this one white kid, ran over this white kid who was sitting next to me and said, "Hey, white boy, give up your shoes." This kid popped up like a jack in the box. I don't want no problems ripping his shoes off his feet, right?
Damn.
And then they looked at the other white dudes and they said, "Hey, man, you Woods got a problem with this?" And that one that was talking all that wind was like, "Hey, man, I don't know that mother." You know what I mean? So my first impression of that is I felt betrayed. You know, I felt like, what's up with these clowns? You know, they're not trying to back me. I'm just gonna let me get beat up like that. So I go up to 9,500, and what brought me to 9,500 was my girlfriend at the time. I was with her dad driving down the street. We got pulled over, and there was a strap in the car. So I told the cops, I said, "It's my strap," because you know, he was an older homie, he was a veterano, and he was on parole and all that, and I didn't want to see him. I took the beef for him, you know. So they let him walk, and they took me to jail. Yeah, they let him walk. They took him to jail, or they took me to jail. They let him walk, and they were laughing when they were in the car. And I'm like, "What's so funny?" And they're like, "Nothing. I'm sure you'll find out." Well, check this out. I get up to 9,500. Those punk cops pretty much called his parole officer, and he didn't even make it back to the house. The parole arrested him for police contact in the vicinity of a firearm. He was already upstairs when I got there. He sees me walking in all beat up, and he's like, "Damn, JD, what happened to you?" I said, "They tried to get my shoes downstairs." And he's looking at my feet. He goes, "You didn't give them up?" And I'm like, "Nah." And then a homie walked by. I didn't even notice him in there at the time. He's like, "Nah, man, this fool fought for his." So my old lady's dad's like, "You know what? Check this out. You run with us in here, because if you don't, you're just going to be a victim every day of your life." Because them white dudes in the LA County jail, I mean, they're walking around, you know, with no shoes on their feet and getting their commissary punked from them. And, you know, I mean, I even seen it one time in the visiting where some little white kid, I don't know, he must have been from Beverly Hills or Glendora or somewhere, was on the phone talking to this old lady, and this young blood ran up on him, snatched the phone out of his hand, and said, "Man, back up. Hey, baby, what's up? What's your name?"
Damn, that's some disrespectful shit there.
Yeah, so this is the environment in Los Angeles County Jail. And now, not to really say that these dudes are all punks and everybody's punks, but you got to understand the environment. For every one white dude, there's like 100 of everybody else. And when you got those kind of numbers to look down on, it's really hard to be, you know, completely solid like you are. Yeah. Cross over into the next county in Orange County, it's a whole different ball game. I've seen black dudes, you know, pissing and peeing on themselves and running out of units because they were outnumbered. And you got a lot of white dudes over there in Orange County talking to them skinheads, Nazi lowriders and stuff, straight killers, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how it started out for me. And it wasn't easy, man. It was a very tough road to follow, especially we're talking 1993, 94, 95, 96. You're always expected to do 10 times more than the next guy. I could literally stab everybody on the yard, and a dude that is by blood Chicano can stab one person and get more notoriety than me. It's that hard to work your way through the politics of it on that racial level, because, you know, and especially in this day and age that I'd like to clear up is, and we live in this day and age where everybody is, you know, painting the white dude as some weakling, stumbling, bumbling buffoon. And I mean, that does a lot to boost a lot of people's already fragile self-esteems. But that's not really the case in a lot of these prisons. You got a lot of dangerous dudes that have been outnumbered for years, and they will fight when they're backed up into a corner.
Oh, for sure.
In the situation of mine, it was a lot of factors that led to me basically making that choice and crossing that racial line. It was not only this of being felt betrayed, because I take respect very serious, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
when you betray me like that, that's it. And another one was, since all my homies are Chicano in the streets, you know, we got a couple of homies that they're running my clique we got a black homie, we got a couple other white homies. I couldn't see myself going to some prison yard and stabbing one of my homies for some guy named Billy Bob Bodine from Shasta County. And I don't even know, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I mean, I know you know what's up. You know what I'm talking about. Can you really go against one of your own bros on the streets?
No,
just because he doesn't fit your skin complexion?
Nope.
Yeah, when you get into these politics and these gang politics, it's a gang thing. It's no longer about. It might be skin to a lot of people, but to a lot of other people, it's not. I mean, you got white sureños, you got Asian sureños, you got black sureños. There's a lot of heavy hitter black dudes. I mean, I can name a few, but I won't. So
Okay.
it's not. It's that's what it is in California, and to the rest of the nation, it seems kind of odd. I mean, I'm in Oklahoma, and people see me and they kind of trip out, like, this dude's having an identity crisis or something. But
You never
I mean,
know
my
what a
name ain't
person's life has went through, man. You know?
exactly. It's like, I understand. You got a lot of these little Jamie Kennedy experiment looking kind of white dudes running around and ain't never done nothing or been nowhere, nothing like that. But I got to tell you, man, for somebody to take that step that I done, it's not an easy road. It's a very dangerous road, and if I'm still alive, then that must mean I did something right.
Yeah. I know that's right. That's a good piece right there. If you're still alive, you know you done did something right, my friend. I mean, you survived, L.A. County in the '90s. I mean, it's pure warpath. Let me ask you a few things. So you said your girlfriend's father kind of put you under his wing throughout the
Yeah.
whole situation. Now, was there any kind of backlash from anyone else a part of that clique that was like, "Hey, man, you can't just, bring him in, put him under your wing like that." Was there any other kind of backlash from anyone else?
No, because pretty much I was already running with a crew. Like, I already had like my little clique, and we pretty much fell under the big homie's umbrella. Um, Anytime you're basically kicking anything upstairs, if you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
you're basically part of the club, or
yeah,
so to speak. It's I made a lot of money out there. I did a lot of things out there, and just the fact that I took a strap charge for a veterano like that says a lot about your character. It says a lot about your heart. I
damn
mean,
right.
most people might take the rap on a stolen check or a little bag of methamphetamine they found under the seat, but when you're taking the beef on a strap,
Yeah,
that right there is like, damn, man. I mean, this kid right here's got some heart. He's got some quota. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's
So
that's something that's
yeah,
locked in. It will last. You will feel the uh, repercussions of a gun charge the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So that's some solid stuff. Did you go to the penitentiary in California, or was it just the feds? Because I know you.
no,
We're gonna talk about that here in a second.
yeah. So the gun charge eventually got dropped because I was driving my homie's car. So my
Oh,
homie
okay.
came to court and said, that's my strap. I left it in there and all that stuff, and it was actually registered to him and everything. So there wasn't no like repercussions on
Oh,
him.
okay. That's good.
They dropped the case on me, but they didn't drop the case on my lady at the time's dad, because he was still in contact with a firearm,
Yeah.
and that's how the parole system works in California. Felon in access to a firearm, they gave him a year flat back in the prison system, but I beat him from possibly getting a third strike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So uh, I got out from that. Ran around, ran amok, and was starting to rack up all kinds of cases all over the place. Was wanted in two counties in '96, or in back up in '93. I went into the state over a bunch of stolen property, and I got sent up to Tracy DVI. And back then, that place is a straight gladiator school.
Yeah. And you
I
were
mean,
still you were still representing your thing
yeah,
and all that. And how was that leaving and coming back? Didn't have any problems.
nah. I mean, there's always going to be that one guy
Agreed.
doesn't want you around. That one guy that just don't like you because of your skin color.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of people got this notion that only one race of people on this planet dishes out all the racism, but if you've lived in the
Oh
prison
yeah.
system, that's a crock of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's you always got that one guy or that one clique of guys that just want to see you fail and want to see you wreck. And when you know that in your mind, you're one step ahead of the game. You got to learn how to be a good chess player in life in
Yes.
order to deal with all the haters, because you're going to have them. Everybody's got them.
Yes.
And there's just a lot of situations where I could have been put into other positions, but was bypassed or stuff like that because of the skin color. But most of all, like, I guess I feel fortunate because a lot of older gente over the years have told me, man, you don't ever want to be like a llavero or a blaquero. You don't want to ever be running no block like that because those dudes always wreck. I mean, those S and Y yards are full of some dudes that thought they had all the answers.
Yeah.
And they made one bad call, and next thing you know, they were running. Yeah, they were sprinting down that tier like freaking Henry Armstrong. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, I've been all up and down the state. You know, I did a little stint, like I said, in the early '90s. Got out, discharged my number, and then was right back in the prison system in '96. And I had a whole slew of charges over 2 counties, and went to the reception center at Wasco, California, and was eventually transferred out to Calipatria, the level 4 prison, and then they bumped me over to the level 3 Centinela. And I mean, that place was just rocking and rolling. They used to call the place Rosie's house because that was the name of the warden, and she was just horribly corrupt.
Yeah.
So there was all kinds of shit going on in there.
And you were mainline throughout all these institutions?
Mainline all the way through. See, the funny thing about doing time, and a lot of people miss the mark, especially nowadays. A lot of these cats that are in prisons nowadays wouldn't last 5 minutes in the 90s. Yeah. Not 5 minutes. They'd be running out of there, they'd be getting stabbed, church keyed, whatever it is, hard candied out the game. Back in those days, you found that OG, you found that older homie to mentor you, and you listened to his every word, because he's not going to steer you wrong. Because a lot of these veteranos that are in there, they just want to make sure that you don't wreck, because it makes everybody look bad when somebody in the car wrecks. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you know, if you're going to go down this road, you want to listen to that game you're given. You got a lot of these youngsters nowadays, they think they know everything. Mm-hmm. You can't tell them a damn thing. But back then, I listened to the words of my mentors clearly, loudly. Didn't get myself in no drug debts. Didn't get myself caught up in the drama. You know, you don't chase around none of those sissies. You don't wander off into areas that are not yours, that are kind of like enemy territories. And for the most part, you just keep to yourself and you don't disrespect nobody. Respect is a big thing in California prison system. You disrespect somebody, then it's a whole nother level. Shit can get real physical real fast. But I followed those rules, and I set them as my foundation for survival in prison. And I made it through all those years, man. I was in and out of the California prison system from the early 90s all the way till 2007 when I finally got paroled. And then I basically just went on the run over and over and over again, let the parole come and find me in all these different states and ship me back to California on a regular plane, and then just let me out and I'd do it again. And I finally maxed out my time in 2012 over there at Chino.
Let me ask you this, man. Stabbings is, you know, it happens quite frequently, especially back then. What would you say was the number one reason why an individual might get shanked up, man? Like, I know there's problems. You know, let's say someone just does something stupid. I'm sure, you know, some stupid, simple thing. I don't know what I could possibly say right now that they put into perspective, but I know they probably wouldn't shank him over something super petty, but maybe they would, depending on the situation. But what would be like the top reasons on why you seen someone, hey, you got to go do this, you got to go put some steel in them?
Well, I think me and you both know the answer to that question, and it's a debt.
A debt. But don't you feel as though, do you think that they gave him ample amount of time to pay back that debt, and they just said, you know what, this dude ain't never gonna pay, so now it's gonna happen like this?
Well, when you got a guy that's dragging out a $2,500 debt month after month after month, it's a pretty good indication that he's either going to be checking in here pretty soon, PCing up, and as he's going, he's taking almost every knife that he knows about on the yard with him, because you got to give these people something to get out of there in a hurry. I've seen all these big tough guys talk all that good high-powered game about how badass they are. I've seen them run off the yard I don't know how many times because of their debts. You know, to me, like in the game that I was in, you're a weak person, man, if you got to get high in prison.
Yeah.
You're just a weak person. I mean, you could drink the Pruno or the hooch or whatever it is where other people are out there, and that's okay. But when somebody is living and dying by that needle and by that drug every single day, you see him itching and scratching, running the yard, trying to hustle coffee and selling state bars of soap just to get another fix. He's cleaning somebody's cell and washing somebody's socks to get it, and they're racking this debt up higher and higher. They're gonna get booked real fast, and you've got, you know, more than a handful of little soldados, soldiers, that would be more than willing to earn some stripes and stick that steel in that person. They might not have never even said two words to the guy.